Hi and welcome by this amazing drawing of a waterfall and a canyon. And this is the quick sketch of the composition that I wanted to make. And for this drawing I'm using the Carbotellos from Stabilo and the Canson paper. It's a sandy color. And what is very important in this drawing is that you are using curved lines, as I'm doing here, for the back of that canyon. And now you can imagine that we were standing at the bottom of this canyon. And way on top you can see a little bit of sky, and there's a waterfall just coming over the edge from that canyon. And it's all going downwards towards the water, and we are standing on the river bench, or what it is. It's kind of a lake where it strands in. And for the sky that I'm drawing in here, I use the white as an under layer. And here you can see the top of our waterfall. And what is important also to keep in mind is that the light is coming from the left. So what I'm doing here is I'm deciding where the most of the light is. And in this case that is coming from a left top. And here I'm putting in a little bit of yellow over my white. Because way in the left and way in the back the sun is shining, and here I'm using a very light blue, the lightest blue that I could find, and I'm first filling in the portion that is sky. I rub everything in with my finger, and then I take a little bit darker blue for the right top of the sky. And this is a very light yellow, so I put that in there too. So I keep reminding that the sun is coming from the left, and the sky way up high is darker blue than it would be on the left side. What I'm also using is a white pastel to spare out my white pastel pencils. It's like eating them up. I always use too much white, so now and then I pick up a little crayon for this to spare out my pencils. There are just some tiny clouds there, way up in the sky. I thought that would be nicer to watch than to make it all blue. And now it's time for the canyon itself. And as I was saying, the light is coming from the left, and so the left side of our canyon will be covered in shadow. So here I'm using a dark gray, and I'm drawing in the lines of the rock formations that are in the left and in the shadow. That also goes for this part, just right of our waterfall. So this is the side that is in the shade. But for the mid section, there is a little bit of light coming in. So for this part I'm using a lighter gray. That light gray I also use for the waterfall itself. The waterfall, of course, is partially also in the shadow. Now what I also use for the midsection is a very light pink. And well, I've made this canyon up. It's just from imagination. And here I use a little bit of pink in the water too, to get some reflection. And this is moss green. Now because there's a lot of water going on, and the rocks will be always a little bit moist and wet, I just imagine that there will be moss growing on those stones. So I simply put in a very light layer of moss green over the shadow part of the canyon. Here I place in a little bit of white on the water itself. And of course I draw in some mist and water that is splashing up. And here I'm already going downwards in this drawing and draw in a little bit of waves here and there. And what you see here is the rock formation that gets the most light. So I go over that with the light yellow again. And I'm already drawing in a little bit of reflection into the water, using light blue and a little bit of darker blue. And the fun part of drawing water is to mix as much as blues as you can, and try to get the reflection of the sky in there, but also draw in the shadows that are casted by the left rock into the water. Here on the right there's a huge rock, and also underneath that there's a lot of shadow, so I draw that in with dark blue. And here I've picked up a more greenish blue, and I use that for the water that is coming towards us. I also put that in the sky just a little bit. Sometimes I put a little bit of light blue over the dark blue to get a little bit of shine, so you get that soft feel of water. Here on the left I'm using the darkest blue that I have for the extra deep shadows that are casted in the water. A little bit of wrinkles here and there. And now and then I just watch what I'm doing. I think the left side of our rock formation needs a little bit more darkness. So I've taken my darkest gray pencil and I get in a little bit more detail. Not too much. I want to keep it mossy and really rocky. So I do not put in too much vegetation. Of course you can do that. You can put in all the plants and things you want, or a little bit of flowers, but I want it to be kind of a rough, rocky look. I don't know how you call it. Here I've taken the white pencil, and way on the bottom there's some light hitting there, so I can draw in the splashes a little bit white, so they really appear to pop up of the water surface. So that's a nice detail. And also way on top here there's a lot of light hitting that waterfall. Here I'm putting in a little bit of shine. Of course, you can always blend in if you want. You can blend in with your finger to make it a little bit more soft if you want. Soft touch. But I want a lot of light here on top. So I'm using a lot of white there. Also on the midsection on that rock that is just in front and getting the most light. And now I finally come to that very, very big rock on the right. And I was imagining that I was watching through my photo camera, and that I wanted the focus to be on the waterfall and the back of the canyon. So the right rock would be out of focus. So what I'm doing is I put in some lines just to get that rock going, but I do not want the focus to be on that rock. So the color of the paper will shine through my drawing, and in that way it takes part in this drawing, but it will not get all the attention, because I want all the attention to keep going to that edge of that canyon and that waterfall that is falling down. Should you want to draw in plants and those kind of things, of course, feel free. That would be awesome too. Here I put in a little bit of extra shadow. I want a lot of contrast, so I want a big contrast between the whitest whites and the darkest darks. Here I'm adding in a little bit of yellow, just to cheer up my drawing a little bit. And what goes on in the sky goes on in the water. So I will leave it up to here, and I will leave it up to you to make a drawing out of this. I wish you all the success, and I hope you will give this drawing a try and a big thumbs up. Hope to see you again, of course, in my next tutorial. Take care.